just gonna be one of those days. Hey, everybody. I am so sorry it took me a couple of minutes to get out here. I went to go live and, excuse you, that's a little rude. Who you, Arnold Palmer? Anyways, that like 4 of you got that joke. Anyways, how are you guys doing? Hope you're doing well. I mean, listen, this is the not so political part of the program, right? We're going to throw some tarot cards. We're going to talk about things. And you know, I usually only got time to get out there once a week or so. So I'd always kind of give a commentary and, you know, this is how the world works. This is where things go, whatever the case may be. And boy, we're getting inundated right now here, right? We're getting the hit list of quality, aren't we? Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, who was already threatened Hamas. Let's see what else. And by the way, you know, wherever you land on this, clearly there has to be a solution to go there, but not call them filthy pigs and tell them they have to be blown back to the Stone Age. Let's start there, democracy. And then, of course, you have the Bernard Getz. Oh, I'm sorry, Matt Gaetz. You know, some sort of attorney general, because his qualifications ring true to that of a felon that got away with it. Elise Stefanik, you coattailer. You know, you've got somebody who was basically in the ROTC who's going to run the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Like, I feel like the Grinch when he's flying down the mountain and he says, "First I'm going to throw up and then we're going to die." So just as a term of sovereignty, I will tell you that as a matter of public record, the United States does not have access to my family. You do not have access to my sons. We will not fight in your wars. And it's not about being patriotic or American. It's that I don't believe in anything that you're doing is right. And if that means that you have to pry my amethyst out of my cold dead hand, then so be it. It's that simple. The line's been drawn. You can't subscribe to this, right? And listen, he demeans everybody that he ever works with. So these people are setting themselves up for absolute shitstorm. You are allowing yourself to kind of be set up on this. And I want to talk real about something, though. And I'm going to get to the cards. I'm not going to go more than 10 or 15 here on this one. But, you know, I think we need to know what the chances are that he adjourns Congress and appoints all these kids. Yeah, I mean, listen. Can we also just kind of remember that Joe Biden could totally pull the hamstring on this and go, I declare that election fraudulent. And we are not going to allow this to move forward until we get to the bottom of it. And I'm going to pull out the 25th. Is it the 25th? You know, I'm not an expert. And it's not about installing Kamala, because let's be honest, like she's already wilted. So sorry. But it's also, yeah, and that's the thing, hope and happiness. What they're going to do is going to, because if Joe does that, that means that we're just like them. Come on. They were relying on us not being unkind. They're relying on us to be whatever, right? Like, oh, you're too much of a democracy fan, aren't you? Well, you just let us be your dictator then. Or does it matter? Well, let me tell you something about what matters. You know, whenever you're in a battle, again, I'm not a military expert, but I have played Risk before, which is more qualifications than some of the douchebags he's putting in place right now, but as regardless. But what you do is you create a strategy. When you start to lose, you realize that you're spread too thin. The only hope that I have right now is they're spread too thin. I also have hope that somebody somewhere is actually pulling things out of the gutter and going, where are all these votes? The math does not add up. It still does not add up. And when you say that to anyone who is, in the Trump camp, they literally go, "You're such a sore loser." Instead of saying, "You're right, this is valuable. I know what it's like to have my vote stolen," or whatever. You mean to tell me with all of the fever pitch that we had, there was actually less people voting? None of it makes sense. We've had a record number of people that have voted, that have registered to vote. And again, you can say without merit that those people aren't necessarily committed to voting for Kamala. But I'm going to venture to guess that I think it was something like just shy of 2 million. I ended up seeing something almost 2 million people registered to vote under the Taylor Swift kind of endorsement thing. Just give or take, even if it's 1.5, that's still 75% of the vote. Now you can sit there and, kind of go down this path that there's some sort of grift going on, and it could be all of them. And by the way, I want to thank everyone for the amount of concern that you guys have had for me. I will not bow. It's not coming like that. No way. No freaking way. You're going to take my amethyst out of my cold dead hand. It's that simple. Something doesn't match. Something does not matter here. Something is clearly deceiving us, right? And by the way, I've said this 5 years ago. If you go back and you watch some of my videos, and by the way, thank you guys so much for the likes and subscribes. Thank you so much for sharing it with your friends. I truly appreciate all of that dynamic. And I want to be able to show you the shuffle up and heal part of this, because a lot of you are kind of getting into this a little bit later on in the game. And I just have a lot of fun with this stuff. So let me sit in my joy, right? But the idea that, like, what does this mean to us? What does this mean to you? Hey, Kevin, how are you? We got to get caught up. The whole thing about how we roll moving forward is what we apply to our morals, our compass, our values. 100%. What are we going to allow? What aren't we going to allow? And I am not allowing anybody to touch my family. No freaking way. And it's not a take me instead of them. Right? Yeah, Nicole, I've actually seen some of that. Yeah, the Project Looking Glass. And by the way, I'm starting to realize that the agencies that I've helped were just picking my brain to see how I ticked. Let that sink in. Let me sit there and go, like, I don't really feel good about this. I thought I was helping. Just like every single person that voted for Trump thinks they're doing the right thing. They're brainwashed. It's a brainwash technique. It's and by the way, I have seen the thing that scares me. I mean, truly scares me, is the part of this that, people that are actually speaking out about this are, if you point out the similarities between Trump and other dictators, it's that'll never happen. And I heard this on the Brian Tyler Cohen show about 2 months before the election, almost 3. And she makes reference to 80-something days. And she basically says, so the reason why most people can't wrap their head around the atrocities that he's basically communicated. He's basically like, I'm going to be this giant jerk. What was that? Oh, and by the way, get ready for disruption. I'm already looking into other platforms. Don't worry. Right? Is that they kind of fell under this spell because when somebody says to you, somebody's going to break into your room and take $20, you can conceptualize $20. You can hold $20 in your hand. You've been stolen, you've had money stolen from your backpack before or whatever, right? Then on the other side of this, what's actually happening is, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to break into your place, and then I'm going to steal your family's house. I'm going to steal their money. I'm gonna basically take over their lives. I'm gonna steal their identities. I'm gonna do all of this stuff. And you're like, that's a little too big for me to wrap my head around. And then you dismiss it. And then you're like, well, I think there'll be a little bit of whatever. And the division that they wanted, they're getting, right? I mean, how many people have dismissed parts of their lives now? How many people, and this is my favorite. Somebody mentioned regret in here. Hey, Tanya, how are you? Happy day to you too. There it is, due to wars. Not touching my kids again. Yeah, Michelle, you no way. I've read too many dead people to know how this is how this agenda is trying to go there. I have read too many parents who have lost children in wars that absolutely, without merit, would never, like, they can't get into the whole, but it's for America. At no level. I mean, when have we truly been threatened in this country? I mean, truly been threatened. Maybe World War II because of the atrocities. Like, I kind of get that one. But every other war that we've ever participated in, every single conflict, every single other one has been laced with the grift of making some people money, war profiteering, drug running, oil baroning. Like, it has nothing to do with freedom. The Cuban Missile Crisis, yes, 100%. You're not getting my kids. Not getting my kids. 9/11 was a direct attack that we 100% would have stopped if we didn't let a vote get stolen. I said it out loud. We have to say the quiet parts out loud. And we also have to make sure that we hold ourselves accountable. I think it's funny that there are so many people that are that there are people that are Republicans that are regretting their vote because people that are woke won't go to their shop anymore. Guess what? If you've ever owned your business, if you've ever owned a business, you know that every customer counts. I will also tell you that this is my work, is a work of energy. And if you're going to come in here to lecture me about Trump, and by the way, I'm not telling you you have to be a non-Trumper in order for me to work with you. But this is where I draw my line. I can't support your healing if you're going to help my hurting. How about that one? I can't support your healing if you're supporting my hurting. Get your head out of your ass. I also want to call out on the Van Skyke Island the principal of the local elementary school flying her Trump flag. The Department of Education is being dismantled. First shot across the bow. Honk, honk. You sure you still want to fly that flag? You sure you want to still fly that flag? The challenge that we have is that we get obsessed with the problem, not obsessed with the solution. I've said that 100 times. I'll say it 100 more. The Department of Education is flawed, right? Your family is flawed. You have these things that are flawed, but we work through them, right? We all have imperfect people in our lives. And some of it's a toleration, and some of it's a proclamation, right? Like, isn't like, well, I have this person in my family. It's part of your identity. Certain things have been left to be broken for so long that nobody's actually tried to fix them. So instead of saying it doesn't work, we should be saying, let's find a solution for this. Let's get real brass tacks things. But instead, part of the reason why it wasn't fixed was because the people that overpaid the money into it or paid the grift into what they should get out of it have finally positioned themselves to a point where they can make at least something out of it. And yes, Department of Education is part of this too. Like, I mean, money in our government is absolutely why we're here. 100%. Pluto and Capricorn ripping us apart right now. Give you a little tigger for that one. But listen, there are, and by the way, as much as there are families being ripped apart, I can't support your healing if you're supporting my hurting. Right? We've come way too far to settle for this. Yeah, no kidding, Jess. That's spot on. So now we're being put into the corner. They're putting baby in the corner. So what's your rules? What's your regulations? What's your dynamic in which you're going to allow, what you're not going to allow? That, yeah, it does take a catastrophe to wake up. Now we're kind of in a positioning where you have to figure out who the frig you are pretty quick, because you were relying on this never happening. Dose and wake up call, everybody. You thought for sure we would never get here. He'll never get in. And I'm here to tell you that when the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the militaries get together, do you know why they had to get together? Here's something really sobering. You want to win? You want to win an argument against a Trumper? The military heads got together. It wasn't because they were going to be like, what do we do with Trump? Although that was part of it. It was because there is no protocol to take someone who was an active threat to the country, literally in absolute clear and present danger to the country, to president. That is why they got together. That is why they said, we don't even have the button for this. For the clear and present danger, you know what the categories were? Captured or killed. Not elected. Let that sink in. He's a clear and present danger, and now he's taking it over. They formulated a plan to say, we will not be under command for you to break the law, which means that your sons and daughters that are currently serving need to have a spine. So when you talk to your loved ones, and by the way, they're going to cut off circulation because they do. They're not going to let you call home to mama on Thanksgiving and Christmas and birthdays and once a weeks. Slowly but surely. If you have one message for them, say, I taught you to do the right thing, do the right thing. One of the things in Vietnam, and I've talked to a lot of Vietnam vets, I've read a lot of dead Vietnam vets. Their regret is that they wholesale followed orders that they knew were wrong. But the person that has been tapped to run our defenses has been in the ROTC. Thank you. I appreciate that. Magical mermaid. And please share this stuff with your friends. I know you're a little bit like, okay, B, whatever. There's a movement here that we're going to, we said we're not going to go back. And then let's have a moment to think that our idea of going back was we're not going to go back to the Trumpism stuff, or we're not going to go back to the make America great again. Honestly, it was kind of a horrible decision to run with that, but it made sense at the time. How about we're not going to hate? And by the way, it's countless. And again, you can book with me, tbrandonruss.com. I have been overloaded with readings. Happy to do them. It's my life's work. I'm energized with it. Every single one of them was acted on. The vast majority of them started out by talking about how this election has affected them. Let's just say it that way. Some of them was about family, some of it about mental health, some of it was about their pain and suffering, some of it was about how dastardly this is. Listen, Michelle, I agree with you. America needs to move forward, but what's going to be left? We're going to basically destroy every single alliance based on some of these practices and ideas. We're going to get into wars that we should never be involved with. We're going to be sticking our face into a whole bunch of things. We're going to be siding with oligarchs in Russia as opposed to working with manufacturing. And by the way, the immigrants are the problem. Our collective IQ has plummeted. And how do you get through when you don't have the smarts? You have to have the emotional intelligence to figure it out. That's what we focus in on around here. Right? Oh yeah, people don't think it applies to them. Good call here, Veronica. People genuinely were like, well, but that's not me. That's not going to affect me. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. He acted like a buffoon for the better part of his entire life. And I'm not talking about his personal life. I'm talking about his public life. Forget about trying to dig up shit on him. There is so much stuff to dig up on him. It's floating on a garbage planet. Here's the good news. We got us. We have the idea that there are people in this world that are sane. It bothers me that I see so many mediums supporting Trump. I'm just like, you fuckers don't see this coming? Excuse my French. I promised myself I wouldn't fucking swear, but here I am. You mean to tell me that you're a light worker and you think that somebody that's going to deport the world is going to be the person for you? Let me tell you something about light workers that support Trump. I'm going to summarize it as quickly as I can. They're scared, they're insecure, and they didn't do their work. They project things, they do spiritual bypassing, and they are completely toxic for anybody on a spiritual path. Drop that. You have unresolved stuff if you are giving yourself away to this. And by the way, if you say, well, you supported Kamala because you're ignorant. Nope, went on vibration only. Because let me tell you something. I had plenty of criticism of how she was put into place, how her policies didn't match up with my paradigm, but I could live with her because she wasn't going to go off and just half-cocked saying, we have to do this, we have to do that. She had a process in which you could talk to a process and say, is this the best for everybody, right? Darla, how are you? I'm a psychic medium. I don't mind giving shout outs. Have you seen the same thing? And I'm not going to ask you which side you're on because you're watching me. I'm here to tell you that Trumpers hit this hard and then they're like, this fucking idiot. Right? But, once upon a time, I used to sit there and say, light workers, we're all going to kind of work together. No, we ain't. No, we ain't. This was low-hanging fruit, everybody. This was low-hanging fruit for us to see. What I don't even want to say sides. It's you're full of shit if you think you were part of kindness and then voted for Trump. I'm sorry. Until you repent in some sort of way, like, hey, I was wrong about this. I saw it as a thing, right? The light workers have failed us too. That's part of what I went after Marianne Williamson for too, by the way. And by the way, I got a note and I got it flagged and I got it whatever. Well, you guys do understand that one of the extended agendas for Project 2025 is to make evangelicalism the religion of the United States, and therefore basically coming into a place of saying, hey, listen, all other religions are shit. You will not have religious freedom. You just won't. By the way, Catholics are going to get decimated, guys. Catholics are next. You think Hamas is bad? St. Malachi was not wrong, everybody. This is the last pope. This is what you just signed up for. You're seeing all of these things converge. I am going to do a Nostradamus prediction show. I've been pulling together the notes. I have the Uranus almost just about ready to go. I only have so many hours in the day. The 10th house publisher, and by the way, go to 10thhp.com, 10thhp.com. I'm going to put this in there too. Sign up for our newsletter if you want to get your word out. Free press is going to be in self-publishing, guys, right? I gotta do a little self-promotion here. Everybody yells at me because they're like, I never do that. 10th HP, 10thhp.com. Go there, sign up for the newsletter. That is the self-publishing house that I have. Daryl's the editor-in-chief. She does a great job. We have another book that just came out, just about to come out. It's kind of a romance novel. Yeah, it's done by a media personality that I can't say where she's at and talk about them two together in the same thing, but I will tell you, it's racy. You ladies are going to like it. I also have a couple of more things coming out here, one of which is going to be a re-release of The Funny You Should Say That with more stories. I'm just about done with the second one. And then I have another book coming out that's going to take you down this very cool path to learn astrology through real-time stories. So it's kind of fun. And they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. We're not going down, guys. We got to start looking out after each other. And by the way, this is also, do you realize that we were actually under a fascist rule until 1865 in the South? For about 40, 45 years, there was a very contingent government that kind of operated on the local government side. Put it back to the states, by the way, was kind of the claim. And they kind of got to operate in any which way they wanted to. And during that time, what happened is that they were part of the reason why the South is so depressed is because it assimilated these ideas of differentiation, of saying we're going to segregate, we're going to have a very male-dominated life, white life, and what we're doing is we're allowing that faction that ran through Alabama and parts of Tennessee and Mississippi all the way over to the Carolinas. And it's just this band where all of them just kind of held strong for the South, right? Virginia, went into Virginia too. And during that time, that area not only went backwards, it didn't exist. And I shouldn't say up until 1965 or 1865, from 1865 to about 1965. Until Martin Luther King started saying, like, you know why people aren't doing anything here? Because they don't feel safe. They're not investing their money because they're only talking to a small percentage of people, and that doesn't get there. That doesn't get them profits. Right? You know, it's been a year. Guys, I can't make this stuff up. A year ago today, I was in Memphis. I was walking in Memphis. Had my feet 10 feet off the pier. I was treated to some of the kindest people I've ever met. I ate some good food. That is until Texas. That is until North Houston. And when I got there, I could not wait to go see Graceland. Couldn't wait. Like, hey, I'm gonna, you know, like I was all sorts of ready to go. And I'm like, come here, little pretty Priscilla. Here we go. Ready to go. And I saw it, and I thought it was okay. I thought it was ostentatious. Hey, Amber, how are you? Hey, Amber, I'm coming back. Don't you worry. Yeah, the barbecue is pretty slamming. Not going to lie. It's pretty good. And I went there, and I had a series of things that I was connected to, and I had groups, I had classes. I was doing all sorts of things. And then I for whatever reason, I couldn't get a flight out. Like, it was one of those things, like, I wanted to secure Sunday to get some stuff done, but I wanted to get a later flight, and then I realized it just wasn't going to work. So I ended up staying until Monday. And of course, for whatever reason, I'm on a later flight. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And I've basically got all of Monday to kill. And I went to the national, the Lorraine Hotel. Oh my gosh, it was the National Civil Rights Museum. And I was just like, yeah, I'm going to go check that out. I did no research. I knew it existed, but I didn't pick anything apart. On this day, a year ago, my spirit guides put me there. Pay attention, everybody. Pay attention. When I pulled up, I saw the big Lorraine Hotel 1960 style sign. And I'm like, that's freaking awesome. And I see these lines on the ground. And I look up and I see a plaque with a wreath that's forever changed every day or frequently. And I realized that's where Martin Luther King was shot. It wasn't just a hotel. It wasn't just a museum. It was a crime scene. I walked in, I paid my money, and then I walked through this incredibly emotional wing called Till. Celebrated the movie that came out, and I'm like, how you doing, Hollywood? And I see this story about a little boy that was just joyous. And then through justified hate, he was tied to a turbine and thrown into a river, lake, a swamp. After he'd been beaten by men, abused, whatever. He's 12 years old, 11, 12 years old, and he didn't know any better and trusted whoever it was that was trying to abuse him. And this story, this movie, is about his grandmother and his mother not giving up hope that he would somehow get justice. And it wasn't a no-brainer that they murdered somebody. They literally said in a court system, well, what is the value of a boy that gave nothing to society? Are you kidding me? It's in a museum. That they literally basically said, well, he's not white. He doesn't have value. He's a child. We get rid of children all the time. You're replaceable. As soon as you feel like they make any sense at all, I want you to recognize one thing. You're replaceable. That's the only way they see you. Why do they not want abortion rights? Because you're replaceable. They need to replace you. The goal is to replace you. This is their interview process. Tell women they can't have terminations. And guess what? You got babies without homes. Well, we'll take them. We'll raise them as our own Christian white evangelicism. That's the goal, guys. That's it. That's their grift. That's it. They're going to repopulate the country with people that they will put into their paradigm, into these diatribes of hate and superiority complexes. All of it. There is. I'm not using hyperbole. They've already put it in motion. Why would you put someone in charge of the Attorney General's office that is even suspected of paying off prostitutes underage? Well, that's just Donald Trump's type, isn't it? You know, I remember walking through. You ever have that effect where you go through like a museum or a shopping mall or something, and you just run into the same person over and over again? For whatever reason, they have their conversation, right? Where you're like, hey, how you doing? Right? You have that conversation with them. Like, hey, how you doing? And then this one woman and I just kind of danced through the whole thing. And I was a little pressed for time, but I still wanted to be able to see it. Right? So I wanted to see as much as I could. Come on, really? Took care of that one. Don't let your anxiety hit the plus button a harder times. But anyways, I told you that story to tell you this one. So we're dancing. We're kind of doing this. And Nice woman saying hi. You know, I caught her in a moment of tears. I certainly teared up. And, you know, one of the things I didn't realize was the effect of Rosa Parks the way that it was. I always thought it was, well, she stood up for things. I'm like, yay, Rosa, that's right. Nobody puts baby in a corner. Right? The story of Rosa Parks standing up, and this is our lesson, everybody. Here it is. Rosa Parks not only went down this path. That's it. Show's over, kids. What the fuck's wrong with you? Got rid of that one again. Rosa Parks not only stood up to the establishment, she caused one of the biggest problems in Alabama history. The city of Birmingham plummeted into a recession because here's what happens. The people, and by the way, in this case, it happens to be black people. Let's take the labels off. People that saw this as oppression stood up for her. They stopped taking the bus and they started walking. Guess what happened to the bus system? Literally overnight, they started running a deficit. Now, on one side of it is actually part of the reason why bus terminals and bus transportation systems got turned over to the city, because Rosa Parks says no and it needed to be subsidized. Yeah, it is. I see it. I'm on it. Thank you, Jess. But on the other side of this, she also created opportunities, because guess what happened? And by the way, this always comes out. Yeah, I can. Guys, just report it when you see it. The name of the book, my book, is called Funny You Should Say That. I hope you read it. By the way, that's part of the reason why I went to Texas, part of the reason why I went to Memphis. It got banned in both places. Anyways, Rosa Parks created this economic shortfall because people said, that's it. We're not going to, I'll just walk. Whatever. So people started to not take the bus anymore. And then, oh, by the way, people were like, yeah, I can't do this job no more because I can't get here. And they're like, well, it's walking a little bit further. You know what? I'm going to get a job over here. Things became very parochial, right? People would still show up. Don't get me wrong. But it affected the economy in a bunch of different ways. The other way, you're going to love this. There was a man that opened up a used car lot. And he made funding available for African Americans for 2% over the life of the loan. So if you were buying a car for $500, you were paying 2% against that. So you're basically paying about $600 for the car. Everybody kind of made money, right? The entrepreneur that ran it was funded by an outside source, and he swore he could never tell who it was. The black entrepreneur not only opened up one in Birmingham, but he went to other cities and started making this available because he used his equity and reinvested into the cities. Literally without comment. And by the way, you guys do know that this is an orchestrated thing to try and screw me up, right? I'm on their radar, I'm telling you. This person later on went on to say, I could not tell about it when he was alive, but I just wanted to let you know that this white entrepreneur funded me so that then I could provide cars for black people. Now, there's a whole lot that I just said, that deception will come through. Maybe you don't talk about it. Maybe you don't do it. Maybe you just do it behind the scenes. But it's kind of that feel in A Sound of Music when, it's wrong to hurt somebody, or it's wrong to circumvent them or whatever. But when the nuns came out and were like, here's the carburetor, they can't catch them, were they doing it for good? We have been establishing in our brains that our government is here to help. We have been establishing in our brains that the police are always going to do the right thing. We have had so many things over the past, 10 or 15, 25 years that have showed us that we have to be able to think in the moment and to have the discernment of what is right or wrong, and not to assume that a title is going to make you right and in charge. What a fucking idiot. Oh, God. Yeah, I can change it. I just can't change it midstream. Do yourself a favor and do not click on that. The tarot person. Hey, listen, it's good to be recognized. Thanks for watching. So a year ago today, I got the education of my life, and I weaved in and out, and I saw, right? And then through the course of everything, I ended up, I get to the airport, I get there a little bit early, and then I'm like, I'm going to grab a little more barbecue before I leave. By the way, I'd already had some from the Brick House barbecue in there, right? It is obnoxious. I'm on it. And I sit down, and I had myself a Coke, because that's all I got down there. And I get some sort of like brisket. It was disgustingly awesome. Like, there's just, I'm all over my face. I don't even try anymore. I just get right in there. Wait a minute. Anyways, and I sit down, and the woman that I had kind of played, kind of catch and can't all the way through, sat down next to me. And I said, holy crap, that was a lot. And she said, I'm ashamed. I had no idea half of that went on. I'm ashamed that I got an education, in this United States, and I didn't know half of that. How is it that the entire education system never told me about the economic impact that Rosa Parks had? No, it got caught up in the legality of it, and it gave up on the, oh, she was uppity. Oh, she was whatever. No, she was standing for much more than that. Much, much more than that. There's a backstory about her going to the dry cleaners. Now, the dry cleaner wouldn't help her because there's no way you can, quote, get an end's clothes dirty. Oh, she was a ticking time bomb, everybody. She'd heard enough. She'd had enough. What's your value system? What's your enough? When are you going to not stand up on the bus? Of course. What is your value system? What is your enough? What is your enough? What is your enough? And I'm not saying this to make you militant. These are people that want to take advantage of your kindness because they just think that your kindness makes you stupid. They think that your kindness is a checkmate proposition that you will never, ever, ever stand up to them. And the idea that Lightworkers support you taking away your free will. One of the biggest challenges, it's just us here, right? One of the biggest challenges I ever had in this work was going over the idea that being a Catholic had a set of values. And I watched Catholicism hang me out to dry, just completely. Read the book. And I used to be very judgmental of people that got divorces because I was like, oh, there must be something wrong with them. Probably wrong with her. Am I right, Lilith? And that evolution changed when I started to realize the complexities of marriage and being able to see it. Right? Yeah, you need to vote with your feet. The Amazon thing is currently under review for 10th House publishers, just to let you know. Does that hurt our reach? Maybe. Does it mean I have to get better at what I do to get the word out? Absolutely. Thank you for watching. The dynamic and the dialogue here is really about us standing up for ourselves. What do you stand for? And are you smart enough to even make a decision for yourself? That's the other part that they love. You're ignorant. You just watch that MSNBC show. I am Lilith. No, we are Lilith. It's a t-shirt. It's coming. We are Lilith. Hey, poet, how are you? I read a person that lives in Nairobi today. Yeah, we got reach here. She's afraid of the world blowing up. She's European by birthright, but she doesn't want to go back there because she knows what's going to come. The energy of this is long systemic. If not them, but who? We are Lilith. We aren't going to make you a sandwich. You do not get my sovereignty. I had someone completely say to me in my own Facebook world, we'll accept your apology now. Meaning you picked the wrong candidate. And I simply said, I will not bow. We aren't Lilith. What are you, a woman? Uh-huh. I could say something crude right now, but you're just going to go get a bigger truck to overcompensate for yours. Well, you see what I mean? It's like I don't just put one flag, I put two flags. And guess what? You don't tread on me. And guess what? It's a big old snake off the back because I don't know what that would really look like. How about if you pay attention to the parts that make you feel uncomfortable, that make you feel triggered? And by the way, I never talk about the specifics of a reading. So when you book with me, it's in confidence. It's just between us. We go to places that you need me to go to. But I will tell you one thing that is there in every single reading that I've had since this election is how this election has affected their life. And virtually none of it's been positive. Now, there might be positive outcomes. You know, when a child that is raised and you've raised them to be a strong, independent woman is doing this to you because parts of your family are supporting Trump because they want a better economy and better prices on eggs. And she's like, fuck your eggs. Sometimes you just need to hear that you raised a strong, independent woman. Yeah, but no, yeah, but you can't wish for a sunny day and be upset when it's 98 degrees. That woman's badass. You raised an adult that thought for herself and could see through the conspiracies and the lies and the conversations that were meant to, but what about this and what about this? And they're eating the cats and they're eating the dogs. We fell for that as a country. Raise of hands. How many people on this channel, there's 100 and some odd people, headed towards 200. Linda, that's a point I actually just made earlier. right? I gave up being Catholic for Lent. Touche. Well done. You can stick around there, Phoenix Night Rose. Good to see you again on the channel. I promised myself I wouldn't make this into an entire political thing, but I get riled up. I mean, I go on and they're like, Marco Rubio is assaulting a woman outside of her office saying, I want this on record. I want this on tape. Tony, good to see you. I want to make sure that you know that Hamas is a bunch of animals and they're horrible and they're whatever. And by the way, go ahead and take a grift to this and try and make fun of me. I'm quoting Marco Rubio. And the woman basically says, can't you acknowledge the fact that we haven't been able to get shipments and supplies to our people? And they're like, Hamas is using you and putting down, military installations underneath hospitals, kind of like pizza parlors. Oh, the matriarchy is coming. Don't you worry. It's coming. Because after you're done being butthurt, after you're done being, oh, I need better prices on my eggs and all this other stuff. In every foxhole, when a soldier faces his demise, his death, his imminent danger, he calls on two things. A God in which he never fully understood, and a mother he always betrayed. Is this getting anywhere yet? These big, strong men are very weak in the center. We've just got to find the exhaust opening to drop in 2 photons to make it explode. No apologies. So listen, news and notes. Geez Louise. I'm doing this right now. Know what I'm doing tomorrow? Actually, I've got Friday, 11 a.m. That should be a.m., not p.m. Apparently, I've got a drunk monkey on board over here. No offense to drunks or monkeys. But that's 10 o'clock. That's 11 o'clock a.m. on Friday. Please tune in. We're also 5 Central European time. Those of you that watch. By the way, in Nairobi, that would be 9 o'clock at night for you, because apparently we're starting to grow there too. I'm also going to be on a couple of podcasts here. I'll get them out on my channel as we go. Amanda Carpenter asked me to. Wait a minute. Wait for. And I'm back. Amanda Carpenter, who is a great healer leader for self-discovery and self-realization, has asked me to be on her podcast. I'm going to be on that podcast. I will also share with you guys, without letting any cats out of the bag, there is a national clearinghouse for this work here on YouTube that has sent me a note and would like to have a conversation with me. So I might be on a higher platform here shortly, which is cool, which is very, very cool. They kind of like this stuff, but they never really kind of figured out the right combination in order to deliver it. So, good Lord, I'm all over the place here. All right. Just got to line up my stuff here before I get going. What if I do it this way? Oh, there we go. There we go. So this is called Shuffle Up and Heal. Oh, yeah. Dominica. And actually, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing another Signs from Loved Ones, something very similar to this. And I'm in the process of editing it so that it's made available to other people as well. And by the way, I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but I actually donated. People had an option to donate. It's a free class, but they had, some people were like, hey, here's 5 or 10, 20 bucks, whatever. Well, I took all that money that came in and I donated it to the ASPCA in Springfield, Ohio, to save the cats and the dogs. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. And by the way, you can sign up for the weekly B. You can also stay tuned for some of the other things that I've got coming up here. I've got some really cool things. New Year's Eve, carve that out. Next time you see me next week, you're going to have an option to be able to join my New Year's Eve celebration. We're going to meditate at midnight, which is a different thing, man. I'm also going to have another class that is going to have a little PhD flavor to it that is going to help you become the light worker you've always wanted to be. This is called Conscious Becoming, and this is where you take all your experiences and figure out your moral compass in the work you're meant to do, who to help, who not to help, who to guard against, who to say F you to. Yeah, it's a class. I made it. By the way, I've taught it before. I just used to call it conscious living, intuitive living. Nope, conscious becoming. You don't deserve my kindness if you're going to take that kindness and hurt me. It's real, guys. So this is what it looks like, everybody. Everybody. Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at that. Oh, I'm close up right this here. Oh, geez. All right. Okay. All right. By the way, different camera angle every single time. By the way, this is natural tarot. These are the oh, look at that! I find the Lover's card. Yeah, Jessica, stay tuned, would you? Go to my website, tbrandonruss.com. Go sign up for the email list. You're going to get plenty of info from me. I'm also going to start coming out with a newsletter a couple of times a month. I know that people really kind of like enjoy the proponents of like things, you know, thoughts and whatever. And I know I do a lot of this, you know, here where you kind of know what makes me tick. But why don't I give you tools and tricks of the trade? I've been at this for a while. I've had literally thousands of students over the years. I've taught mediumship, intuition. I've helped the nefarious different agencies that have tried to pick my brain, but just as a point of matter of reference, I didn't teach you everything because I knew this was coming. It's a story of a man named Brady. So what we do in Shuffle Up and Heal is I pick somebody at random. I do, you know, I like to do a handful of these. I connect the dots. I'm able to say to people, hey, we're going to do this. And I actually give you 3 cards, and then I put 3 cards on top of that. And then I take another card that kind of does an overarching thing. So I use 2 tarot decks and an oracle deck. Now, the 2 tarot decks kind of speak to one another. Traditional tarot is going to be the same no matter what. It's 78 cards. Major Arcana, Minor Arcana. Now, we're going to use the traditional tarot because I like to teach as I go. And then I also use one of my favorite decks ever. I don't know if you see him here. Yeah, you see Woodstock? Who's Woodstock attached to? These are Snoopy cards. We're going to see Snoopy's peanut-themed tarot deck. And it's a lot of fun, right? Linda, go to tbrandonruss.com. You're going to get newsletters from me a couple of times a month. I've been working on it with my new... Oh, and by the way, have you noticed the word? I'm going to take this off here. If you Google Borders Are and ask when it started when they started calling Kamala that because they wanted to institute the word Borders Are and normalize it, thinking that, well, the Democrats had a Borders Are. We have a Borders Are. Borders Are is completely made up. Never in the history of America has there ever been a czar because it inflects autocracy. All right, guys, here we go. In Shuffle Up and Heal, I decide on where we go. Spirit shows me where to go. I do love it when you say what your sun, moon, and rising is. Let me know that you have some experience with your astrology. That tells me where you are in your path, that you at least are plucking this away and trying to figure it out. And then I give you 3 cards, and then I get 3 cards answer, and then I give 1 oracle card. Now, of course, oracle cards can be a little bit of everything. It can go in different places. I'm actually going to be using the Astrocodes astrology deck for this one. So this is going to be connected. Yes, sign up for my email list because they can't deplatform me from my own email yet. Got it? Lily, by the way, Lily has come up 15, 25,000 times. By the way, what is it? Is that a beagle? Oh my God, is that a beagle? Is that a beagle? No, and by the way, guys, I also have an online message circle. I have it limited to 12 people First come, first serve. You guys go ahead and sign up. You're going to get an evening with me, whether it's the 12 of us just on the screen. We'll banter, we'll talk, we'll whatever. Tickets are reasonably priced because I don't believe in gouging this one. All right, guys, here we go. Lily, have you ever done this before? I don't know if you've ever done this before. Feel free to give me any validation as we kind of go along. I'm going to go ahead and start this deck, but I am going to kind of do a little bit of a shuffle so you guys don't think that I've like stacked these in any way, shape, or form. And I do read these cards upright. And the reason why I do that is because we're in the public eye. I'm going to keep upright cards, traditionally keep it to the positive, so to speak. The reverse makes it very complicated and it requires more dialogue. So I'm declaring before we get going that that's how we do it. We're going to bring in our bright light. We're going to ask our guides to connect with one another as we ask for messages to come through that we hope to receive. And we do this work in light, love, and laughter. So we can become the best version of ourselves and all the work we're meant to do. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this work here today, because this is what I'm meant to do for the greater good and the light of the world. All right, Lily, like it or not, that pup's getting some readings. Oh, I get conflict. This is also known as the Lord of the Flies card. By the way, I'm going to completely show off and tell you how much I know. So this is the Five of Wands. This is also right dead center into at the beginning of Leo, right? So this is also an indicator of some Leo energy, kind of some fight. By the way, this might be what it is that you're feeling. Well, you need to kind of drop the emotional parts of it. The King of Swords is really good with saying, I also call this the dad's belt. This is an authoritarian piece to it. And by the way, if you're highly affected by what's going on with the election, this could actually be your effectiveness to it. That you're angry, you're ready for the fight, and then you have this authoritarian King of Swords, right? Whoo. Where is this going? Oh, this is balance. This is the balance. By the way, every little thing is going to be all right now. Lily, are you a Leo? Is that what you're trying to tell us here? Love it. Love it. And again, with the Snoopy deck, I'm going to cut this up as well, just so then you guys know that I'm not stacking anything here. Oh, yeah, the Magician. So there's magic and then there are hills. Maybe it's an orchestrated thing. Maybe the Magician comes in and manifests, right? It allows you to kind of be like, means that you might be the peacekeeper and whatever this conflict is for you. Now, the authoritarian side of this is also the Page of Swords. By the way, in the Peanuts deck or the Snoopy deck, the spades are swords. I'm going to tell you why that bothers me. The Page of Swords is a step back. So maybe you take a step back from some of this anger so then you can do your magic. Remember what I said? Every little thing is going to be all right now. How about that? Wow. I love this card. This is about communication. Got the third house here. Again, all parts astrology. So what this is really kind of telling us, like, you're basically going to say, this isn't okay. I'm not all right with this. I'm not all right with this conflict. Maybe this is in your family. Maybe this is with your friend group. Maybe this is with work. Maybe this is with whatever it is that lays out there for you where there's a conflict attached to it, right? I don't know. I like what I see in terms of the outcome, but I got to tell you, that step back of the page tells me that maybe this is somebody kind of getting over on you. Right, Lily? Yeah, Lily, thanks for the validation there. Well, good luck to you on all of this. It's going to be okay. And by the way, the Two of Pentacles is about the balance of the situation, right? Yeah, family. So listen, just look at it from the practical standpoint of your family. Two of Pentacles is very practical. You're tied to them, right? And there's kind of some rough and rocky waters. Well, you just be the sunshine, right? You'll just love the shit out of them. They won't know what to do with you. They just don't know what to do with you, Lil. All right, Lily, thanks so much for being part of things here. I love to see the new people here, too, as well. I'm not going to forget my old friends. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. I'm going to do the old spin up here and kind of go here. Ba, ba, ba. Hey, Trail Psych Tarot, thanks so much for being part of things here. Cancer Sun, Libra Moon, Scorpio Rising. Don't tread on me. Everything's going to be fine so long as you don't act up, right? Is that kind of the way you go there? By the way, I love to actually let people know that you're in business in other places. Nothing wrong with that. By the way, if Trailside Tarot resonates with you, go check it out. Go Google it. Go find it on there. I'm giving you a shout out right here. We're all one family. The Hangman, you know this is about perspective, right? Listen, this isn't a lesson for you. This is a lesson for everybody else. I'm not talking to you like you don't know, because if you're going to run with that one, the new perspective is where your abundance is. The new perspective is going to allow you to kind of bring things into it. And by the way, this is new business. This is you taking a practical way. Maybe this is you discovering your practical self. Huh? I mean, with virtually no earth in your chart, probably. Well, I'm saying that, but I don't know. But Cancer Sun in your triad, you go water, air, water. Could make it a little bit tough. And by the way, with Scorpio rising, what are you? So you're probably fourth house. And fourth house is Sun, and then your Libra is so you're probably like in the 11th house, 11th, 12th house there. If you're Scorpio rising, kind of makes sense, right? So listen, you've got this magical, mystical placements here, right? You're intuitive as hell. You're just deciding where to go with them. So the Queen of Spades comes out because I want to care for you, but I have to do what's right for the situation. I have to take out emotion. I have to kind of let this kind of be the way it is. And I see it in a different light. I see it in a different way. Right? My pup Lily turned 3 today. How about that one? Then the Queen of Cups comes out. Self-love is the basis of all love. We carry on in such a way that we carry on our wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more. You, my dear, I love this. You have discovered that through the chance and the opportunity of waking your eyes up every single day, that you're blessed. Don't get hung. Don't sweat the small stuff. And it's all small stuff. And then through this new idea, this new projection, this new what have you. Yeah, this is money, money, money. And how about if I just give you the 10th house right there? By the way, this card reading is brought to you by 10th House Publishing. Go to the website today to sign up for our self-publishing tools that will help you become world famous. Did I just make that part of it up? I don't know. Did you? Could go sign up today. I thought that was just too corny to not do 10th House Publisher and promote it. All right, so listen. Trailside Tarot, go like her page too. I'm calling you her. Let's not get into the gender stuff today. If I got it wrong, just correct me. I wish you good luck. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. All right, guys, here we go. Let's go grab another one. Clearly, I want to go home and watch The Grinch. Cindy Love, are you in the way? All right, Pisces Sun, Aries Moon. Usually when people say that, it means that they don't know their time of birth. So sometimes it's because of adoption. Sometimes it's because of, hospitals. Sometimes he was born in the South. Well, Cindy Love, here you go. I'm going to get you out on your journey. Hello, fool. Fooling. It's not being the fool. It's about not giving a shit. It's about cutting it off of everything in the past and not really having a whole lot of baggage. Sometimes a lack of experience can bite you in the tail, but it's all part of the journey. And guess what? You are going into a fierce warrior. If I didn't know better, I'm going to say you activated with the current world events. Maybe you met somebody. Hello. Listen, when the Knight of Wands shows up and he's holding it in his hand, answer the door. The Two of Cups shows up because this is something you love. This is something you are passionate about. You click on another level, soulmate level. One of the soulmate cards in this If I didn't know better, they're probably going to be a fire sign, if not a Leo, sitting right here. And by the way, the intertwined also represents past life. So maybe you feel like you're fulfilling something that you've seen in the past life before. That's just the way you got to look at it. And by the way, the microphone's like putting a shadow on me. Total eclipse of the Brandon. All right. The Fool, the Six of Pentacles comes out. Guess what? Guess what we're talking about there? We're talking about finding your balance. Holy Toledo. Can we make this up anymore? The Fool card comes out. By the way, you a fool, I a fool, everyone's a fool. This is definitely relationship based, right? I mean, look at Snoopy. He's just a fool in the rain. Tune in for the music program on Thursday. But the Fool in the Rain here, and by the way, I love this. He's just dancing in the rain. Who isn't a fool in the rain? You get the Fool card twice. This is definitely intertwined. Whatever relationship stuff you've got going on, it is destined. I mean, feel free to give me a little bit of commentary on this one, right? Where are you there? Oh, Trail Site, thank you so much. Not necessary, but I do appreciate you. Cindy Love, give us a little bit of affirmation here. If I didn't know better, you're in like the, oh my gosh, way to go, right? Anybody else paying attention? Two of Cups. We got some soulmate energy here, everybody. Hit the bell. Ding. All right, there we go. Cindy Love. So you said something. I was a soldier in a civil war. Oh, there you go. So you're getting some past life love here. So maybe you're going through this again. Where have we gone? Oh, yeah. Solar, calm, clarify. You're seeing it. You're living it. I love these cards. I love the description, nature of them, too. They don't say much, but I love the pictures. I will say this, though. These cards are AI. And when you go to my website, I have a project. It's called the Oracle Deck Project because we haven't actually named the deck yet, but you can be a part of it. Go ahead, join up, subscribe to it. You can either sign up for getting the deck when it comes out in the spring, or you can actually be part of the creative process as we go. You're going to see the things behind the scenes, the meditation that I provide to the artist. Katie Buckley's fantastic. You can see one of her samples out there. We're about to get a few more up there too. And you're going to see this deck come together from the ground up. We've got about 8 or 9 already kind of, procured, and we're going to build so many more into it. You can see it from the ground up. It's pretty fantastic, right? Wow, I kind of like that. Cindy, you're spot on. Thank you so much. Listen, and listen, this is about, whenever I see the solar calm, we get flares, we get flare-ups, we get whatever. And by the way, my favorite thing is when somebody thinks they know astrology and they're like, yeah, the sun's in retrograde. And you're like, because we're going to die. If the sun's in retrograde, women in Brandon first. It's kind of a fun day there. Thank you so much. Italy representing. That's cool. By the way, you do know I love that I'm meeting all of you. Yes, Bonnie Tyler. Which, by the way, was originally written for Meatloaf, and he turned it down. Right? Oldie but goodie. Renee, how are you? Cindy, I hope you found solace in that read. Thank you so much for being there. Ding, 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 ding. Renee, how are you? By the way, we love your headshot there at Olin Mills. Fantastic. There you go. I'm just glad that you chose that one than any of the other boudoirs that you were in. Oh, thank you very much. All right, here we go. Renee, oh, what's in secret? Of course, you gotta get this, the headshot matches the attitude. You know what I'm saying? You got it, Cindy. Thank you. And then, the Emperor's coming in. This is kind of, this is Aries energy. This is actually, this is a lot of, this is Aries to Taurus energy. The Three of Pentacles is Taurus, second week in Taurus. And then the Aries with the Emperor. Oh, yeah, this is about, I'm going to go here, Renee. This is about children. Being a double Scorpio sun and moon, on a Sag cusp, of course. Aquarius rising, 11/21. Oh, well, first of all, happy birthday. Second of all, what are you doing tomorrow? Third of all, this is an indication of, wow, I got to go here with this one. I hope I don't overstep bounds. Let me know. This kind of has some secret energy to it, and it's kind of like a secret child. Almost like a, hey, this is something, this is a new adventure. This is a new idea. Could be a business thing. Could be a new child showing up. Wow. Let's see what we have to say. Queen of Pentacles. There was a practicality here. Someone who's like a child. Here we go. Let's give you some outcome then. And by the way, I think you've been running cover for them. Thank you for that perspective. I think you're running cover for them. Because this Three of Pentacles is you're not going to shame them. The Queen of Pentacles is you're doing the right thing. You're also providing for them an abundance of love and care and resources, maybe. Yeah. He comes off like a big, strong hunk, but let me tell you something, they missing something. When the Eight of Cups comes out, this is about something missing in the overall scheme of things. It's about a loss. It's about something that they didn't necessarily, it's a blind spot. The Eight of Cups is a blind spot, right? He thinks that he's bravado, but he ain't. He's probably acting like a child. How are we going to deal with this one? Do. Death card comes out. This is change. Boys got to grow up. So the tough love that you're presenting here, well placed. Well placed. You're also not messing around, are you? You're like, nope. That ain't how we're going to do it. That ain't what we're going to do. Oh, yeah. Listen, go deal with your mama issues. That's what that is. The Saturn comes out. That's about structure. By the way, structure is a maleficent thing in terms of the universe because the universe wants to expand. Yeah, I'm up in Clifton Park. As a matter of fact, if I open up the door on any given Friday night, I can hear Peddler's music work. That should give you some idea. So listen, this is you basically working him through his mama issues. You're the mama in this part of the story. And listen, Godspeed to you with this because I think you're dealing with somebody. And by the way, if I want to put a throw into it, I'm going to say this person has had some deep-seated wounds that you think you're fixing them. And quite frankly, you're just going to tell them like it is. I need a grown-up man, not a baby. I don't want to fix anybody. I don't need a project. Well, here you are. You have exposed him. Listen, here's the good news. He's going to change. But is he going to change on your watch or on his time? Right? I like him too. Oh, God, land that helicopter. Listen, here's the deal with it, Renee. You're a good person, right? You're clearly a good person. You're watching me. Number two, we all feel like we need a fixer project somewhere in our life. Everybody does it. Everybody that comes to be conscious has a fixer-up project. I currently have 0 fixer-up projects. You know why? Because I've been very clear with them to say, you've got to take care of your stuff. I'm going to take care of my stuff. That doesn't mean I'm not there for you. That doesn't mean I'm not going to be an ear. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to be, a friend or whatever capacity you need me to be in. But I am going to expect you to take on your responsibilities because I have mine too. Right? It's that simple. That simple. That's how you provide good structure for people, for them to grow instead of them becoming codependent. In the age of Pisces, we have to get over this codependency stuff. We do. Think about it. We are all getting over a codependency on government right now. Every single one of us. Well, Renee, listen, you tell it like it is. You're going to change. Whether it's on my watch or your watch, it doesn't matter. But it's time to put up or shut up. Right? Because it's your birthday next week. And by the way, don't stay with them just because it's your birthday. That's a horrible thing to do, right? Let him take back his $12.99 jewelry, okay? Sorry, that's also that's there you go. Anessa, that's great. Your niece is also 1121. A lot of cuspers. A lot of cuspers. Do you know why? 11 minus 9 equals Valentine's Day. Okay. You know, this is a true story. By the way, I'm going to break a little bit. I'm going to do a couple more readings for sure. But I had this thing. Hey, this is rude. This is rude, buddy. I don't know. We're not in the shower. Put it away. So he's in another country, so that's not going to happen. Well, and just quit answering his text, hon. Listen, me and the girls just got together. Don't text him back. So this is a true story. So I come to this woman and I said, boy, your mom's like a big Snoopy fan. She goes, oh my God. She goes, well, she was, I don't know if she was a huge Snoopy fan, but she was like, you know, yeah, Julie's like, oh my God. Oh my God. By the way, there's no shame in your game if you got laid on Valentine's Day. Okay. Just don't go rubbing it in. There's a lot of cat ladies here. Anyways. So there, come on. That was funny, everybody. Laugh along with me. No time to be offended. I'm one of us. And I come to this woman, and it was a hysterical reading because I'm talking to her about how much her mom is like, no, she's showing me, she's literally showing me the Snoopy, you know, the peanut special, the Christmas special, you know, Christmas time is here. Phoenix, own it. Right? Lights, please. Right? Oh, and by the way, I have it up here. I think I knocked it down. Is it right behind me? Oh, yeah. Look at that. Topic of the conversation is right behind my head. I should really bob more often. I'm not into microherm fellatio. That's another autocrat that you are thinking of. But anyways, so I basically explained to her, I'm like, yeah, I go, your mother is absolutely showing me that she's like, you know, kind of working it out or whatever, and it's all about Snoopy. And then she goes, nope, doesn't mean anything. And then I'm like, well, you know, maybe there's some astrology to this or something. And she turns around and was like, yeah, well, you know, my birthday is, you know, such and such, you know, the 26th or, you know, the 14th. Yeah, I think she was December 14th or so. No. She was September 14th or something like that. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, okay, all right, you know, September 14th, you know, whatever, the 12th, 14th, whatever she said. And then I'm sitting there and then I'm literally in another reading and they're showing me the TV guide. I'm like, huh. What, I'm sorry, not that, you know, I think you're 29, but you might be a little bit older. What year were you born? She goes, oh, I was born in 1968. Again, I'm using this example. It might be 65, 66, but she's like, yeah, I was born in 1968. And I'm like, could somebody look up as to when the Peanuts Christmas special came out? And it came out 9 months and a day after she was born. Her mother was literally telling me that she was conceived during It's Not Such a Bad Tree. How about that one? By the way, I didn't get it without a little math. I didn't get that with whatever, right? Kathy, thank you for that. If you can give me the sun, moon, and rising, if you can. Yeah, it is funny. Oh my God. I still laugh about that story. And that person came to another show and then I was like, and again, no offense if I've read you before in the past. And then people run into me and they'll be like, hey, do you remember me? I'm the one with the thing and the other person and the whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And by the way, Renee, I'm always funny. The fact that I had to get riled up about this just tells you how passionate I am about it. But anyways, and people will come up to me and they'll be like, hey, how you doing? I'll recognize, I'll be like, hey, how are you? And then I'm like, hey, how's that thing? You know, like, I don't know if you talk to me about, your grandmother in passing, or the parent you're taking care of, or the swipe right that didn't work out right, or whatever, right? And some people get a little upset with that. Don't get offended. It's a lot of information. I'm not supposed to remember it for you, me, and the fence post, right? And she came up to me and she goes, "Hey, how you doing? I just want to tell you, I've been telling everybody about what happened in that reading." And it was a gallery reading, so everybody heard it. And I go, "Oh, I think that's really cool." I go, "That's fantastic." And then she's like, "Yeah, I can't believe that happened." So I'm like waiting for her to give me a clue as to who the fuck she is. And she's not giving it to me. She's not giving me a freaking ounce. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, I got nothing. I go, "I'm sorry. How do I know you?" And she goes, "My mother got laid to Snoopy." And I go, yes. Did she start by bobbing for apples? Anyways. It is a 1968 reference. You got it, kiddo. Yeah, let's do a couple of more of these. Phoenix, thanks for following along. Thank you so much. And oh, by the way, Kathy, thanks for helping me out here tonight. I'm circling back around you. Hang on. But these are Phoenixes. Phoenix, I'm giving you the tower. Don't get upset with me. Hold on a second. We got the tower card. By the way, let's give a little perspective about the tower card. The tower card ain't all bad. It is a Sagittarius sun in a Scorpio cusp. This is a very natural placement for you with the tower. You're like, I'll fuck things up. Let's go. Right? An Aquarius moon just means you're going to step over it. Right? You're Gemini rising. Okay. So because you're so close to this, depending upon how you approach it, you may love it, you may hate it. Yeah, don't worry, Phoenix. I got you. Hang on. Have I lost any of you yet? I don't think so. Because coming around the mountain is Queen Divine. The Empress card comes out because your feminine divine is actually a thing. Guess where you're going to this? Dare I say the word righteousness? There we go. I'm not going to say righteousness, but I'm going to tell you the right thing happens and the right change happens. As the 5 card, the Hierophant actually talks about its enlightenment towards a change, towards an idealism, right? Now, the Tower card is kind of like a destructor card, right? It kind of comes in and goes, oh my God, we just move. You have something to a higher power happening. And by the way, I'm going to say these numbers. You don't have to say which one. 24, 36, 48, 60, 30, 60, 42. You're in one of those categories. You're at one of those ages right now, give or take a year. Because part of the reason for this is that you are having some sort of epiphany of being like, I can't elevate. By the way, the Empress has taken off. But you can't take off if you're being held back. Is this a job? Is this a location? Is this the place to hang your hat? Let's not forget that the tower, even though it's crumbling, starts out as a higher ground. It's a leveler. It's you saying, okay, here we go. It's a new start. The 3 of Wands actually talks about the experience you have, the experience you are currently possessing, and where you need to go with this. That's a great card for this spot. Dare I say the Justice card? And by the way, I think it's funny that it's the football. Listen, if you want to apply this to relationships, this is about somebody. Is Dad in passing, Phoenix? Can you tell me if Dad's still here? Because you're going to balance off here. Yeah, this is connected to your dad. Here we go. He wants you to remember that he raised a princess, that even though he passed, you're still who you are and he's still who he is. That's what this is left to right. His passing, you're the princess, he's still in charge. This is your life change, the 3 of Wands. By the way, have you ever seen the movie Contact when Ellie loses her father? Everything changes for her. But justice, this is balance. You've balanced off. Right? By the way, he also provides for you in a way that you never ever see coming. This is the Knight of Pentacles. He's the one that makes sure that you're safe at night. He's the one that makes sure that you see where you're supposed to go, how you're supposed to go, and how you're supposed to do it. Everybody in passing gets this. By the way, he's reminding you you're always home with him. Thank goodness you are developing your senses. Thank goodness you are connecting to this. It was devastating when you lost your dad. No way, shape, or form, man. Just punch in the gut. Is he like Kevin or Calvin? Kalamazoo? I don't know what this is. You're crying happy tears. Oh. Are you in his home? Huh. No captain? Not sure what that is. I'll tell you, though, he's got your back on this. He's in your mom's home. Oh, gotcha. He's in mom's home. So he's in home, 4th house. By the way, was that the home you grew up in? He's telling you where he's at. By the way, they ain't in the cemetery. You should know that by now, watching a few of these weeks. That's awesome. Are you going to see him at Thanksgiving or Christmas or somewhere around there? By the way, here's a couple of little insights. Did you have a dog? Do you watch football? Are you getting... The Knight of Pentacles here is about saying, like, I gave you enough to carry on. Oh, yeah, Kay. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, did you guys call him Captain? That's what it is. He's trying to give you cat. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Sometimes, guys, it goes out of my mouth and out of my head at the same time. Oh, and by the way, what's 42 to you? What was one of the numbers I just said? Oh, are you 51? There's 5. There's 1. There's 36. Didn't I say that one? $16, 19. How old are you now, hon? 42 is your lucky number. There's Dad. Telling you there it is. He was a captain in his vocation. There it is. Did you call him captain? Because that's what he's trying to say. And by the way, 42 numerically, 45 in 2 weeks. That's awesome. Listen, go be a rock star. Dad's got your back. He misses you too. By the way, 42 is when you are halfway between your 36 and your 48, and it's usually the toughest Jupiter return. This is actually the midlife crisis, so to speak, right? So you've been going through this. That's your tower, right? That's your tower. I'm proud of you. Kicked ass and take names. Yeah, guys, you do know that the toughest breaks are the in-between where Jupiter is at its nadir or in opposition of your natal chart. It happens at 27. Hey, look at the 27 club. Happens at 42. Those are the two rough ones because you're almost in an identity crisis, right? At 27, you're headed towards your Saturn return, which is at about 30, 29 and a half or so. That is the reason why so many talented, creative people take the bridge on the way home because they just don't know how to handle it. 42 is a midlife crisis. get a Ferrari and get an implant. I don't know what to tell you. But that's when we struggle with our image of ourselves. Are we who we want to be? Are we happy with where we're at? Dad is unequivocally telling you, I've got you. And you thought the Tower card was rough? Tower card is 100% accurate. That is the worst thing that's ever happened to you, is losing your dad. That is your Tower moment. I'm seeing your notes, guys. Thank you. Want to get a couple more in here? Thanks so much for liking and subscribing. Hit that like button. It helps the algorithm. Share with a friend. So you check out what this freaking guy does to this girl, this Phoenix Night Rose. It was awful to watch him pass. Yeah, listen. Who are you? That's what he wants you to remember. You're the princess. I've still got you. I see you. I can't wait to see you around a little bit more. Like raising your hand as in like, praise Jesus. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. All right, I want to scroll up here. I did see another one. The Spirit's kind of like, ooh, over there. And yeah, and by the way, I can totally go higher ground all day long. Singing in the key of miserable. Jess, thanks so much. How are you, Jess? I hope you're still around here. Leo, Sun, Cancer, Moon, Virgo, rising. You're a cusper. You are a cusper. E22. Are you sure you're Leo? You had to be in the morning. Had to be in the morning. Cancer, Moon, Virgo, rising. Boy, everybody's just hanging out right there on the left side of your stuff there. Holy Toledo. Your moon's in the third house. All right, well, here we go. Well, Mary Poppins, you're practically perfect in every way. This is a Mary Poppins card. This is you looking at this as in like, for every task there must be a note of sympathy. Look at you go. Just being all sorts of Virgo about this. So much so that you're all about the high priestess. A little self-righteous here. Tone it down. Tone it down. Jess, you can continue, but let's kind of see where we're going here. Oh, you're the party Virgo. Woo! Right? You know what Wednesdays are for. Am I right or am I right? Am I right? Good job by you. Listen, this is you never necessarily having self-doubt. This is you also saying to yourself, I want to enjoy life. And by the way, in your archetype, you've had to take the high ground. Had to take the high road. Talk about higher ground. Two of Pentacles, your choices. This, I actually think this has to do a lot with your faith. Whenever I see the High Priestess with the decision card, it might be you explaining to yourself or exploring. I was born into this, but this resonates with me. And it might not be a finalization, but it might be, well, I was Buddhist for about 3 years. Okay. And by the way, what a great country that we live in, that you can decide to be Buddhist for 3 years. Amen. We are Lilith. That's my new battle cry. We are Lilith. I'm still going to make a video on that. Combined with the Three of Cups, this ought to be interesting. I need sound effects for this. Three of Cups comes out again. There ain't no way. Ain't nothing going to break your stride. Ain't nothing going to slow you down. Oh, no. Oh, no. You got to keep on moving. Let me tell you something about the Three of Cups getting together twice. You are eternally happy. And by the way, that doesn't mean you don't have tough days. Not what I said. You are always going to look at the bright side of life. Always look on the bright side of life. A lot of whistling going on in this one. I wish I was a better whistler. You just pucker up your lips and blow. All right, calm down. You only live once. And you know what? That is a great moment for you. Look at your perspective in the universe. Oh, love this. Transits, climate. This is about you changing. You set the tone, right? Gene, looks like you're a Taurus moon. Darla recognizing your second Saturn return. Jess, listen, you're the life of a party. And let me tell you your value system when you're in like a work group. You're the one that always says, I can't whistle or wink. It's not right. Wait, hold on. Anyways, it's terrible. Apparently, I am into microphones. Anyways, Jess, you're the person on the team that says, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. We're going to get there. Tony, hang on. You're the one I was looking for, kid. If you can type in again your sun rising moon, please. That way I don't have to go all the way up. I couldn't find it the other time, but just grab my either. So you're a good time. You're also somebody that's going to say, remember in Stripes when he's like, did Eisenhower quit when the going got rough? The tough got going. No, they went to whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of Animal House. But anyways, you're that person that just has this eternal sunshine. You're barely a Leo. You're at the 29th angle, which means nobody's going to get in your way. Nobody. Okay, I got you, Tony. Thank you. Animal House, thank you. Blutarsky. 0.00. You're all on double probation. If your frat house or sorority, again, we're not getting into genders, your human sorority, your human frat house was put under double secret probation, Jess would go, toga, 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 toga. Sorry, all right, calm down, Jess. And then she's just like, I don't want to wear a bra. Anyways, true story, probably. Just letting you know. Tony, how are you? I hope you're doing well. You look great last time I ran into you. By the way, those in the Capital District, do you run a higher risk of running into me? Yeah. Internationally, am I coming to you? Hang on. Tony, here we go. This is about a recent loss. Crestfallen even. By the way, remember when I pulled out the tower earlier? Be not afraid. I appreciate you too, Jess. Thank you so much. By the way, you're not confirming or denying the bra thing. Got it. I'm fair. Listen, it's all good. Tony, this is about a recent loss. It's about actually seeing the losses in front of you, but keeping. Is there a big Viking around? Yeah, I'm right here. This is about losing somebody, Tony. Wow. Part of the reason why they say death comes in threes is because of this card. It's the 5 of cups, and the 5 is change. But the symbolism of this is that there are 2 things behind you and 3 in front of you, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that the deaths have come in 3, but their significance, right? Maybe it's because you're mourning about the 3 kids in front of you that don't have their grandparents. Maybe it's because you're dealing with the 3 months of whatever and you're protecting. A lot of different ways to go here. King of Wands comes out because this is about being in charge. By the way, the lizard right here, the only lizard in the tarot, in the Rider-Waite, lets you know that this is about adapting. This is about, you'll move on. That doesn't mean you can't be grieving. And what's a dad without a mom? Full disclosure, I've known Tony forever and a day. She does work around the school. She does PTO. My kid's life would be different if Tony wasn't around that school. This is about your mom and dad. Literally, it's laying out there that this is about the loss of your mom and dad. right? They're letting you know that they're there. But somebody puts on a happy face, do they not? The Nine of Cups is about the outward presence of joy. It's about saying, but I'm still okay. I'm still going, right? Come on, Elton John. I'm still standing, right? See you next time, Nicole. By the way, it's kind of funny. As I'm delivering healing messages, my view count drops. But when I was talking about We Are Lilith, it kept rising. It had 200-300 people on. Notice the energy, guys. Notice how I just make sure the people that are supposed to get this, get this. Nine of Cups is really about you being able to say, but holy shit, was it a ride? I wouldn't, under any circumstances, give this up. Give up this journey. I love my parents. I wouldn't change them. Good, bad, or indifferent. That's what this is saying. Temperance. Here's Linus pouring milk. Right? This also represents somebody that might have struggled with their own balance in this life. Self-medication. Being consistent. And keeping their head above ground. Then the Knight of Spades comes in. Boy, your mom just told you like it was. She literally would just, like, you knew where you stood with her. Right? She might not have said it the right way. She might not have been the most kind in her delivery. Jenica, thanks for being here. Love your new last name, by the way. Yeah. This is their way of saying, I'm going to make sure that you know that I'm around, that I don't want you to give up. They're getting you ready for this. Some conflict here. There's some opposition, but don't look at it as in opposition as in like you're not. There's always a fight. There's always a fight after somebody passes. Always. Thank you, Tony. But guess what? By the way, this is my Leo rising, and we'll switch to this. Maybe this isn't about, hey, Nancy, I'm currently reading Tony Atchison. And by the way, Nancy White Allen, you are responsible for introducing me to The Who. Eminence Front. I'll never tell my mom we saw the video. How about that for a memory? What? Thank you for introducing me to The Who, Nancy. But sometimes, yes, Eminence Front. It's a put on. Come and join the party dressed to kill. 1981. You corrupted an 8-year-old with MTV. Bravo. It turned into a passion. The opposition card here isn't dangerous. It's not conflict. It's recognizing that your parents raised individuals. And your path and how you assimilate it is going to be different from the other one. Your dad's laughing about why it is that you guys didn't fix one of the windowsills, and you knew full well it was broken. I don't know if it was broken because the air conditioner was too heavy on it or what. Yeah, I didn't know your parents at all. Nope, not once. And the only reason, and by the way, guys, I have full disclosure. You're connected with people, let's be human. I know that you lost somebody. I don't even know if it was your mom or dad earlier this year. That's all I remember. And I know what kind of an impact you had when you said, hey, everybody, and you worked at the Salt Den and you did whatever. And it's funny that Eminence Front was that song that would come up in this, because this is about putting up a front. Eminence Front. It's a put on. But there's also positive to it. There's just joy. You know, sometimes you put up a front. And by the way, I'm going to accuse everybody of this. In the last week, you have genuinely tried to tell yourself it's going to be okay. Right? And I'm not trying to be political right now. I'm just saying that somewhere in your mechanism, somewhere in your agency, holy shit. Somewhere in your agency, you said to yourself, I'm going to be okay with this. Nancy, this is funny. And by the way, you sold the house today? We sold the house today? What did you have to give a credit for? Was it the window? And by the way, I do this for a living, and sometimes I go, holy crap. No, Cynthia, thank you so much. You sold the house today? So this is your parents' house that you just sold, and I'm giving you a reading the first time ever? Even though I've known each other for years? By the way, Tony used to, shoot the shit with me and kind of be like, so B, well, what do you say? That's impressive. I do this for a living, and sometimes I'm like, holy shit. All right, guys, it is getting a little late for me. So listen, this is the universe we live in. We're connected. Sign up for the newsletter, tbrandonruss.com. Oh, wow. Well, congratulations. Listen, you just need to move off of it, right? By the way, this is actually a really good day to close on a house. And yeah, Nancy, for sure. Well, Nancy, I'm going to leave you with this. So now I'm going to tell you, Nancy, and by the way, Warrior Widow, absolutely, it has changed big time. Just to let you know, this reflection that I'm having here about Eminence Front premiered on MTV. That was filmed during their rehearsal at the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland. September 22nd, 1982. And that's when you were babysitting us. Nancy's only a couple of years older than me. I was at that age where it was like, your sisters need help. We don't trust you with your sisters, was really what my parents were saying. And you were just like, your mom doesn't want you to watch MTV. And I go, my little buddy, I'm right here. Right? The blue eyes thing I'm keeping. The hair, kind of the same. All mine natural. Here we go. And I remember seeing that, and I was just in awe of all the equipment. Right? And the drummer at the time of The Who was Simon Phillips, who had a really impossible job replacing Keith Moon. But he did it with such an accuracy, and he did it with such a clarity. Your father passed in October 1982. Listen, this is a reason why you guys tune in, because you hear other messages. It was the shit then. But I was also 8 years old, and my mother was trying to raise a nice Catholic boy. And I used to ask for all of this music, and she would go to pick up like the tape and be like, I don't like that. I don't like this. And you can imagine how I never really had any Motley Crue till I was 18. Or Dio, that was another one. Here's a devil with his horns up, and I'm like, Mom, it's a song about it's a song about, okay, Mom, it's called Holy Diver. It's about going down to hell. Whatever, Mom, whatever. All hail. I mean, Hail Mary, full of grace. But it was it was like connective, and it was a time where I was just in awe of things, and I couldn't wait to get out there. It is a sign of protection. My mother was going to hear that. It's also known as the Maloik, right? Oh yeah, my poor mom. You haven't met her. Love you, Mom. But it was a time of awe, and I remember pieces of that time like so well, and so interactive, and so like how cool it was that the neighborhood kids and the kids we grew up with. Part of the reason why it hurts right now is because you find out there were Trumpers. I don't want to let go of my childhood memories though, because playing baseball until you couldn't see the ball anymore in Eric Seepel's yard is still a thing for me. But I don't agree with him today, right? You don't have to. And hearing that, and then seeing, bands or whatever. I'll never forget the first time I was so excited. I figured out like Howard Jones. I couldn't play it right now, but I figured out the opening piano part of "No One Is to Blame." Do 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 do. Oh wait, that's Summer Breeze. But you know what I'm talking about. And I would sit there and I would play it over and over again on my grandmother's piano that was out of tune. And a few years later, we ended up moving into my grandmother's house, and I'm like, I'm going to make this piano sing, and it was awful. Right? Nancy, how am I doing? Do you remember that? My sister had a little Casio, and I figured out, you can get the letters, but you just can't hear. You can find the bottles, but you just can't see. You might prove yourself. By the way, if you don't sing the lyrics, you don't get tagged. But I go back to those times, and it was simpler then. We had the world in front of us. Nobody was oppressing us. That's what I'm protecting for my kids. I want them to watch the Peanuts. I want them to dance the Peanuts dance. The one with the... You know what I'm talking about. Natalie knows. Oh, yeah, I love that Bon Scott tune. Wasn't that his last song? We can just talk music. I'll break out the guitar. We'll just do riffs. Then you have like, it's so funny because when you do like a cover show, and I know this from somebody, Black Sunshine, I think is his name. He and I have exchanged a couple of things. I wanted him to come on a podcast, but he's like, "Oh, buddy, I'm too busy playing." But he's a musical genius. Like he doesn't look like much, and then he opens his mouth, and you're just like, "You an angel." But I want my kids to live in a world where they can watch that and have that be their memory. I want them to know what a Christmas tree smells like, not what it looks like. And by the way, that's not overly religious. I want to tell the story about Jesus every Christmas Eve and tell them that in the purest of forms, Mary had to make a decision. Mary was bestowed something, and we're shown through the parable of that birth that amazing things can happen and inspiration can happen. You have to use it for good. My job of having 3 adopted children is to create a root for them, because their root was ripped out when their parents didn't get it. And for whatever reason, whatever blessing it is that allowed me to become their dad, okay. It's pretty cool. Don't color your roots. Your color and your roots. Warrior Widow. Listen, it's just us girls here. Can we talk about what kind of highlights it is that we're doing? Like, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about full roots? Are we talking about the kind you got to do every 3 to 4 weeks, right? Is that what we're talking about here? Because if we start talking about our roots and kind of like what we need to do and everything else, oh, I am. Oh, God. Never tell a grown woman to not color her roots. You think about all the memories that we have. You're welcome. Think about all the memories that we have. Right? 3 to 4 weeks for sure. You guys are just going to give girl tips here. That's fine. I'm really letting the hair grow out, right? I did. I went gray. Look at this. Right? Niedermeyer, the horse and D-Day. Right? I love that. So many good actors in that. Anyways. But you know what? She's not ready for it, though, right? Listen, this is one of those things. You want to talk about choices? You guys can all have a spirited debate about whether or not I got the drums and Bee Gees. What's the Bee Gees? Oh, and by the way, full disclosure, I'm already listening to Christmas music. Not gonna lie. I'm fucking in. Like, I need something. Like, I'm just in. But Warrior Widow, I'm standing up for you here. I get that you want to color. I get people that want to go gray. We run the risk of becoming homogenized when we don't have simple like debates like this. Like, let's get back to like, does the toilet paper go up and over or under and over? Right? Like, can we get back to the things that kind of make us like human idiosyncrasies? Of course you're an artist. You're an artist. I must paint my hair. I'm not making fun of you, but it's funny, right? You're like, here's another project. And by the way, you're feeling accomplished for a day because you're like, at least got this shit done, right? I had a room full of instruments and I haven't played anything yet today. Instruments, musical, right? November 1st, her birthday is the 4th. I love that. It was November 4th. I last held my hand. It seemed the world would last forever. Oh. That's a song. Is there toilet water reverb? Oh, there's something to that. Yeah, Connie. 50 Shades of Grey. Careful. And by the way, you spelled it correctly. Putting up your tree tomorrow. Rock on, guys. Yeah, you know what? Put your freaking tree up. Make your plan. Get your families in. Make your rules about your family. You can come here, but we're not going to talk about degrading people. And then when they go like, what is that supposed to mean? Yeah, we're not going to talk about degrading people. Well, did you hear what Trump did? We're done. Make him a category. Don't make him a topic. Got it? All right, guys. Heart taps around the world. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Look me up, sign me up, all that other good stuff. Tony, I'm so glad that you got out from underneath that, not from a painful standpoint, but I know this is just the next step in moving on. Thanks for tuning in. Nancy, always fun to share that. Eminence Front, it's put on. I will see you guys soon. Oh, by the way, Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern time, see Penny and I, we are tackling the geopolitical nature of the astrology of this. We have got some shit to show you on this full moon. I'll see you guys then. See you guys. Take care. Keep going.